So, I have some explaining to do. I don't know what's been happening with the recording software, but it's been really weird with saving my videos. It's supposed to automatically delete footage after it exceeds a certain amount of memory, which is fine, but I don't know, it's just I'm re-recording something that I recorded 5 minutes ago because it didn't show up in the file right. So I really don't know what's going on. I don't even know if this is gonna work, but basically the video of me making the pyramid got deleted. So anyway, so what's been going on is, of course, I've got this whole little project wrapped up here. Now, Incognito's kind of put his own little touches on things. He put this little emblem thing here. I think it's kind of neat. He also gave these little fellas some crowns, and he lit up the tops of these. But no, what I've been doing with the whole pyramid thing is, well, the first thing that I've kind of done here is, so whenever I left off, this was all kind of hollowed out on this side, so I went ahead and filled this in, but I left the very front here carved out so I could add this little entrance, which I'll explain in a second. Something else that I've kind of done is I've gone in and put these orange borders around everything, so it kind of pops out on the sides a little bit, because I thought it could jet out a little further, but it also gives it just a nice splash of color, helps it fit into everything a little bit better, I think. Of course, you've also got these little pyramid guardians here, and I gave him some little bit of armor and some shoulder pads, and they're holding up these little beach towels, and looks like Incognito's giving them little fingers or something right here. I don't know what that's about, but it's a nice little touch. And of course, these guys, they're based off of these guys. So I got that. You can see all these columns here. These are actually based off of. Here, let me sleep here. But they're based off of the columns that I have going on over here. You can see that, and something I really like about these is just kind of how, well, I like how they use the walls, just because whenever you use the walls like this, the tops of them, it just barely sticks out, so it doesn't stick out super duper far like it would on a normal column. It's a little bit more subtle, a little bit more realistic in that way. But also, of course, you get these corners, and they kind of pop out a little bit, and it just gives it a little bit of texture, and that's great. And I just think it's a great way to do columns. Great way to. The only downside to it is that if you're going to do something like this and have it be symmetrical, now there are ways around this, but in this particular case, it's the symmetry is on even blocks. So what I mean by that is that the reflection point is the middle of these two blocks, and it's just kind of hard to build on evens like that. Like, you kind of have to come up with some little compromises. Like, you can see these little things that come down. This one is 2, but I made it fit in because I added this little jewel here. But if that wasn't there, it just kind of looks strange and a little uneven from everything. But that's one thing. And plus, it's just kind of easier to build on odds. Like, I always turn to this building for examples, but once again we have the Art Deco building, and you can see this is built on odds, meaning that this center block here is the point of reflection, and it's just easier to conceptualize that way, I think. Of course, you can also see the museum. The museum is built on odds, and that was very intentional. But in this game, I think it's just easier to do it that way. One disadvantage of building on odds I've found is actually checkered floors. If you want the checker, if you want the, like the line of the checker, like this line that I'm looking right at, in between these 2 blocks to be in the center, you're going to be out of luck if you're building on odds. And I realized that whenever I built this wing over here. You can see I really wanted, my original intent was for this line separating this checkered form to be the center of the floor, but of course you can't do that because it's built on odds. So the compromise I made was these gray lines in between. But that's just something to consider if you're planning on incorporating those types of elements. But anyway, tangent aside, that's kind of why I picked these columns, just because I think they're nice, and also it works with the grid system. They're 4s, so these are right in the middle of this grid, and you can see they also carry through the glass, and the material becomes rougher as it goes down. This is something that I call, well, not just I call, but that is called rustication, where the material becomes rougher as you get closer down, and it becomes more refined as you get towards the top. And that's just kind of a way of expressing structure in these types of builds. You can see I've kind of switched the material for the columns on the just right on the entrance, because whenever these were just plain end stone bricks, it just kind of blended in with everything. But I wanted it to stand out because this is the focal point, this is the middle, and it also kind of carries into, I think it kind of makes a nice corner point for these orange brick bands. And I just think it's kind of nice. Something else I did with these orange bands, as you can see, you got this darker orange terracotta on top, you've got the lighter orange bricks on the bottom. I think just having that really subtle switch between those 2 shades is nice, and plus you have that change between the textures of the blocks as well. And of course the orange brick band is something exclusive just to this entrance area, so that's also kind of a way of differentiating it from the rest of the pyramid, which has this duller orange. And you can see I've kind of carried on the color scheme of the bands into these. It's kind of become like a datum line, and it defines why I put the orange blocks on top of the columns as well. Plus it just gives them more interest, ties them into the whole project a little bit better. And these also carry through the glass, because he did that here with these, so it's kind of taking inspiration from what he already did. I think it's kind of nice looking at it from the inside too. If I was ever asked to do more for this project, I'd probably make it to where these rows of these lines of columns continue onto the inside and create like a hallway of sorts to this kind of middle pyramid thing. But I don't know, I think him having this middle pyramid also kind of ties into that whole idea of nesting forms that I've been talking about for the past couple of videos. So I'll go back to this. You can see the you've got like this area here. Of course, you got these lamps, and they're kind of framing this little entrance here. You get to a little bit of a larger scale, and you've got these statues which are framing this main entrance area, but you get to an even larger scale, and you've got the towers that are framing the whole pyramid. So, you know, it's things within things within things, and then having this central pyramid structure inside of the pyramid is kind of like having it kind of sums it up. It kind of sums up the organization of everything on the front of it. What else? I guess another reason why I picked these kind of angles to put these at is both, you know, to kind of draw you into this central entrance, but also it's kind of like what this triangle here is doing. So it just kind of makes it more pyramidal in that sense, I guess, as well. Everything comes to a point. That's how pyramids work. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say about that. Again, it really sucks that I lost the... Oh, it looks like he also put little cobwebs on here just so the snow wouldn't appear. That's smart. But again, it really sucks that it just got rid of the footage. I don't even know if it's going to keep this footage. I'm hoping it is. I'm betting it is. But if not, I'll record it yet again, maybe with a different software this time. But that's what's been going on with that. And I guess if you're still here, I'll also give a little update on the big project, the catacombs, which I've been slowly but surely chipping away at. So I'll go ahead and fly over this way. So I've almost got this lowest floor hub finished. So you can see all I got to do really is make the connection between here and there, and then that'll be it. There's a bunch of like stone here, and I dug all that away and built this since the last time you've seen it. So it's, you know, it's a big thing, and I don't have the most time in the world, so it's kind of a little bit here and a little bit there type of project, but it's coming along. And I think once I get this main area done, it's gonna get more exciting, because each of these areas that I have dug out here, they're all going to be different, but they're all going to use the same elements that I've used to construct the rest of this area. So they're all going to be their own thing, and they're all going to have like little tombs and memorials for you know, players or ideas or things, or I mean, there's all sorts of things you can probably memorialize in the catacombs. Maybe I'll even memorialize like donors or something. Maybe you'll get your own special thing if I ever get something like that set up, or maybe a building named after you. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on with the Catacombs project, and things are going well. I know there's probably not as much here as there is in, one of the normal ones, but I just kind of wanted to give you all an update anyway, and I'll kind of finagle the settings of the software a little bit, because I really don't know what happened. It's just gone screwy. It's gone screwy, and I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, I do hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next one. So make sure to press all the buttons and do all the things, and I guess I'll see you all later. So bye bye.